My Beloved Masters, composed by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Extraordinary instances of an extraordinary personality. My Shiksha Guru, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj used to say, when I was in my mother's womb, a renounced person came to our house and gave my mother a sweet which she accepted and ate. According to her, this was the reason why I never had any material desires, why I always wanted to become renounced, and why I came to Srila Prabhupada at a very young age. When Srila Maharaj was a baby, a large bird took him in the sky and brought him back. Such events can never happen to ordinary persons. They are indicative of extraordinary personalities. His Path Pradaksha Gurus. Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj made his divine appearance in the village Vanari Pada within the district of Varishal, Bangladesh. He belonged to a family of wealthy landowners. When he was young, his parental aunts, Sri Sarojini Dasi and Sri Priyatma Dasi, brought him to meet Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because Sri Priyatma Dasi left her body early on, we generally hear more about Sri Sarojini Dasi in the narration of Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj's life story, a jewel among sevaks. In the beginning of his mutt life, Srila Maharaj was known as Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, and Srila Prabhupada later awarded him with the title Kriti Ratna, a designation by which he became well known. Kriti means activity, and Ratna means jewel, and therefore the title Kriti Ratna refers to a personality who is expert in performing activities related to the service of Guru and Vaishnavas, and who considers such activities his life and soul. This title rightly befitted Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, as he was a jewel among the sevaks. Reconciling seemingly conflicting instructions. When Srila Vinod Bihari Brahmachari accepted the shelter of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada at an early age, he stayed as a brahmachari in Sridham Mayapur. One day, after receiving a letter from Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's mother, Srila Prabhupada ordered Srila Vinod Bihari Brahmachari to pay her a visit at home. Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari meditated sincerely on what to do. On one side was a teaching he had previously received from Srila Prabhupada, Sakala Janma Pita Mata Sabe Pai, Krishna Guru Nahi Mile, Bhajiyo Hi Aaye, Shri Chaitanya Mangal Madhya Khand. One gets a mother and father in every species of life, but it is rare to get a bona fide Guru and Krishna. One must realize this in the core of one's heart. On the other side was Srila Prabhupada's order to visit his mother. While contemplating these seemingly conflicting instructions, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari considered that the former instruction reflected Srila Prabhupada's internal mood, based on unbiased truth, and that the latter was possibly given to examine him or his dedication to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari concluded, Shri Guru would never ask a disciple to maintain worldly relations, through which the disciple becomes bound by the ropes of attachment. Instead, he always instructs his disciples to realize their relationship with the eternal entity, Shri Bhagwan. Therefore, I will follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction to realize the rarity of attaining the association of Shri Guru. I will refrain from visiting my mother's home. By doing so, I will not be disobeying Srila Prabhupada. In fact, he will be more pleased than if I were to carry out his immediate order of visiting my home. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's instinct to please his Gurudev by remaining in the mutt was correct, and thus Srila Prabhupada bestowed his mercy on him. Serving through generosity. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's father was a wealthy landlord, and he was therefore accustomed to lavish spending during his time at home. After accepting the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and joining the mutt, he was given the service of managing the properties of Sri Chaitanya Mutt, which required him to visit various properties in Mayapur on horseback. Just seeing him made the residents fearful. Whenever he would cross the Ganga, he would pay the boatman not by counting the exact fare, but by reaching into his pocket and offering whatever he pulled out. All the boatmen would beg him, "Oh Vinod Babu, please come with me. Let me take you across in my boat." A devotee once complained to Srila Prabhupada, "We labor arduously to collect donations for the mutt, but Vinod Bihari Prabhu needlessly spends those hard-earned funds to pay people much more than they are owed. He pays no heed to the amount he gives. Is this proper?" Srila Prabhupada asked the devotee, "How much money did you spend daily when you were living at home?" "One paisa," the devotee answered. "And how much do you spend now?" The devotee sheepishly replied, "About 10 paisa." Srila Prabhupada said, "Vinod Bihari used to spend approximately 100 rupees daily, and now he spends about 5 rupees. Which of you then is truly renounced?" Those who lacked proper vision saw that Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was wasting donations meant for the service of Shri Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. But Srila Prabhupada understood his actual intentions. Through his generosity, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was creating allies who would support Shri Gaudiya Mutt in case of any future opposition. An active response to a passive inquiry. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari always did whatever was required for the service of Srila Prabhupada. Once Srila Prabhupada unempathetically asked him, "Are we unable to acquire Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kutir in Godrum Dweep?" Although the question was passive, it held great gravity for Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. He found himself unable to remain peaceful as long as he had not acquired that property. Such was his service mood for Srila Prabhupada. In addition to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kutir, he also successfully acquired the place of Chand Kaji and many other places in Sridham Mayapur, protecting devotees from violent offenders. In addition to the managing Sri Chaitanya Mutt's properties, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was given the service of managing the institution court cases. Muslims in those days were occupying many holy places of Mayapur, including Chandrasekhar Bhavan, Shivas Angan, Sridhar Kol Vecha residence, and Chand Kaji's Samadhi. One day, the Muslims occupying Chand Kaji's Samadhi beat a few brahmacharis from Sri Chaitanya Mutt. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was unable to tolerate this violent behavior towards devotees. Being protective, he filed a court case on behalf of Sri Chaitanya Mutt, and some of the Muslims were put into the jail as a result. Srila Prabhupada did not appreciate that the Muslims were jailed. He said, "We should oppose the unrighteous activities being performed rather than the people performing them. We should not look to punish people by putting them in jail, but rather by boldly standing up for the principles we uphold and speaking out against unrighteous activities." Thus, on the order of Srila Prabhupada, the devotees posted the Muslims' bail, risking his life to serve Srila Prabhupada. In his time, Srila Prabhupada fearlessly preached against many of the practices and beliefs of the Up-Sampradayas, deviated philosophical lineages, claiming to be in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He loudly declared that it was immoral to charge pilgrims for having darshans of Bhagwan's deity, and erroneous to consider that Brahmins are the only qualified candidates for the position of Guru. His dissemination of Sriman Mahaprabhu's true Gaudiya doctrine contradicted and challenged the tainted philosophies of these bogus sects, and thus jeopardized their donations and sense of prestige. As Srila Prabhupada's fame and influence continued to spread, these groups grew increasingly envious. During the Sri Navdeep Dham Parikrama of 1925, Srila Prabhupada led a group of about 5,000 pilgrims and 108 Mridanga players. At the front of the massive Parikrama party was a band and a deity of Sriman Mahaprabhu, who rode magnificently atop an elephant. the antagonists from the envious of Sampradayas, descended upon the Parikrama procession at Prodmayatala with the wicked intention of taking Srila Prabhupada's life. Sensing the immense danger his Gurudev was in, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari did not hesitate to act. He quickly escorted Srila Prabhupada to a safe place, where he then brilliantly exchanged his white clothes for Srila Prabhupada's saffron-colored garments and arranged for him to be sent back to the mutt with a few other devotees. Posing as Srila Prabhupada, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari then waited out the attack at great risk to his life. Meanwhile, Srila Paramananda Brahmachari, Srila Prabhupada's personal sevak, disguised himself as a local so that nobody would recognize him as a Gaudiya Math devotee. Replacing his dhoti with a gamcha and carrying a hookah, he went to the police station to report the attack. Police officials soon arrived on the scene and the crowd dispersed. Just as a person instinctively raises his arm to protect himself from an aggressor's blow, Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, who was a limb of and non-different from Srila Prabhupada, reflexively protected his Gurudev from not only his vengeful physical attack but also from philosophical attacks. Through his bold and tenacious preaching, he fearlessly defended Srila Prabhupada's philosophical conclusions. Firm faith in Srila Prabhupada, the emissary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In several places, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written that it is unnecessary to construct temples or mutts, as such activities inevitably lead to court cases in which the members of an institution will fight for its various properties and assets. Yet, we see on the other hand that Srila Prabhupada constructed many mutts. We should not, however, conclude that Srila Prabhupada ignored the instructions of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Rather, we should understand he perfectly executed Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's will. As an intimate associate of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada understood the Thakur's heart. Therefore, he could easily comprehend the subtle reasoning and implications behind every one of his instructions. Every teaching has both positive and negative aspects. In describing the establishment of spiritual institution to be unnecessary or even unfavorable, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur warned of the negative result of such endeavors. But this does not mean the establishment of spiritual institutions is without positive aspects. Srila Prabhupada understood that even at the cost of potential infighting, the construction of a mutt will be successful, but if one of its residents sincerely progresses on the path of pure devotion to Bhagwan. All the devotees of Srila Prabhupada's mission, including Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, worked hard to acquire land and construct and maintain mutts. They never once questioned Srila Prabhupada's allegiance to properly carrying out Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's instructions. They firmly believed that the words and activities of Srila Prabhupada were in line with the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's approval was with him. Exposing an incompetent leader. After the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the time came to select a new President Acharya of the Gaudiya Math. Guru Maharaj believed Sri Srimad Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Goswami Maharaj to be the worthiest candidate. However, in due time, Sri Anant Vasudev Prabhu was unanimously appointed to the position, with Srila Vinod Bihari Brahmachari serving as secretary. When Sri Anant Vasudev Prabhu's ill repute came to light, Sri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari called for Guru Maharaj and said, "Hayagri Prabhu, we have stuck our hands in wet stool. Had it been dry, it would not have been so revoltingly foul-smelling. But unfortunately, the reality is that its stench and repulsiveness are excessive. We must feel remorse and atone for having supported Anant Vasudev and for having taken so long to understand what was actually going on. An incompetent person should be hugged, but an incompetent person who makes fools of the general public by playing the part of a competent leader must be shunned. Let us help the people of the world by exposing this person so that everyone may see his true nature." Because of your refined, gentle Vaishnav temperament, everyone considers you a friend and gives importance to what you say. Therefore, please bring everyone together and arrange a meeting so that we may together determine how to oppose him. As per Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's request, Guru Maharaj gathered their godbrothers together and held a meeting, whereupon it was decided to file a court case against Shri Anant Vasudev Prabhu. It was this court case that made it possible for the Gaudiya Math to legally split into two factions. His intolerance of even the slightest deviation. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari's preaching inspired his elder brother to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and join the Math. When Srila Prabhupada ordered his brother to accept sannyas, he was unwilling. Although Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari was younger, he chastised his older brother, saying, "Why are you not fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire to give you sannyas?" After considering these words of encouragement, his brother agreed to accept sannyas, and he became known as Shri Srimad Bhakti Keval Audulumi Goswami Maharaj. Sometime after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj observed Srila Audulumi Goswami Maharaj and his followers deviating from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in three ways. 1. They taught that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not to be chanted loudly, but rather silently in such a way that no one can hear the sound vibration. 2. Although Srila Prabhupada had personally initiated some of his disciples, including Srila Audulumi Goswami Maharaj, into the sannyas order, they gave up their saffron sannyas vesh, dress, and instead wore white Babaji vesh, preaching that sannyas dharma is strictly prohibited in Kali Yuga. And 3. Although Srila Prabhupada personally established Shri Navdeep Parikrama, they rejected its performance. Unable to tolerate even the slightest deviation from Srila Prabhupada's teachings, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj completely severed his relationship with Srila Auduli Goswami Maharaj and those who followed him. He would never allow his disciples to go to Bagh Bajar Gaudiya Math or to any other place where Srila Auduli Goswami Maharaj and his followers resided. If Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj were to discover that one of his disciples went to Sri Auduli Goswami Maharaj Math, he would order that devotee to fast for 3 days, taking only Panchagavya, the 5 products of the cow, milk, yogurt, ghee, dung and urine as his atonement. He would say, "Why have you gone there? You are now impure. You must purify yourself by performing this atonement." Finally, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj decided to file a case against Sri Auduli Goswami Maharaj and his followers, boldly announcing that because they did not accept many of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, they could not be considered his true disciples, and consequently should not be allowed to reside in his maths. My Guru Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj, gave me the service of transcribing Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj's dictations regarding the court case. I would then take those dictations to Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshar Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, who would adjust the language and add it for clarity. When everything was complete, I would go to the court and submit the finalized documents. The day the judge was to present the verdict, Srila Auduli Goswami Maharaj and his followers appeared in court wearing saffron sannyas vesh and were followed by a large procession loudly chanting Mahamantra. Srila Auduli Goswami Maharaj had given 8 people sannyas just that day. In front of the judge, they said, "We are doing Navdeep Dham Parikrama wearing saffron dress and carrying our sannyas dandas. Also, we have established a math in the name of Srila Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur and have established his Murti, deity form in the math we are constructing in Godrun." Although previously they had no plans of having a math in Srila Prabhupada's name or keeping his Murti there, feeling threatened by the bold endeavors of Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, they named their math Srila Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Gaudiya Math. They denied all the allegations put forth by Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and audaciously said, "Just see, we are chanting loudly, wearing sannyas dress, and we have named our mutt after Srila Prabhupada. How can he claim we are not disciples of Srila Prabhupada?" Seeing this to be true, the judge awarded the decision in favor of Srila Odalai Goswami Maharaj and his followers. It appeared as though Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj had been defeated. I pleaded, "Many of your godbrothers were involved in building this case for a long time. I too labored so much in transcribing your dictations, going to Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj for editing and providing information to the court. Now that we have lost the case, will you not appeal the judge's verdict?" Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj replied, "We will proceed further only if they again go against Srila Prabhupada's teachings." He then asked, "How many punches can you tolerate?" I replied, "Not even a single punch. I would strongly object to be punched." Srila Maharaj asked, "And how many could you tolerate if your hands and legs were tied with ropes?" I replied, "I would force to tolerate however many were given." In the same way, whenever someone makes mistakes and goes against the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, we will bind their hands and beat them to our fullest capacity until they accept those teachings. He then explained, "My only desire was for them to again follow the line of Srila Prabhupada, and we see that they are now doing this. They are now wearing sannyas dress, awarding sannyas to others, and loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This was my objective. In this way, we were victorious. Our fight was not for anything other than establishing the proper Siddhanta, conclusive truths, and reconnecting them with Srila Prabhupada. Even now, all of Srila Odalami Goswami Maharaj followers and devotees of Bagh Bajar Gaudiya Mutt accept sannyas, perform Navdeep Dham Parikrama, loudly chant Mahamantra, and perform Harinam Sankirtan. This is all due to the mercy of Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj. We are not here to deal in real estate. While Srila Prabhupada was physically present, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari desired to buy a piece of Muslim-owned land adjacent to Shiva Sangam, which was owned by Sri Chaitanya Mutt. The Muslim owners, however, refused to sell that land to Sri Chaitanya Mutt as they were envious of the organization's growing influence in Mayapur. After some disagreements following Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari officially separated from Sri Chaitanya Mutt, moved to Sri Navdeep Dham, and formed Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. After accepting sannyas, he became known as Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. After hearing of his recent departure from Sri Chaitanya Mutt, and in an attempt to sabotage the institution, the Muslim owners then became very happy to sell the land to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj. As soon as the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mutt came to know Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj had acquired that land, they broke its boundary wall and claimed it to be the part of their property. When I mentioned this to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he laughed and said, "That is quite fine. When Srila Prabhupada was here, I wanted to purchase that land and take it from the Muslims. It irritated me that we owned all the surrounding property except for this small piece of land, which was owned by people performing activities against bhakti. I did not purchase this land for my own enjoyment, but for the service of Srila Prabhupada. There is no harm if Sri Chaitanya Mutt claims it. Rather, I am fortunate that they have taken it for the service of Srila Prabhupada." He then asserted, "We are not here to deal in real estate. Our only duty is to serve Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas. We have not joined the Mutt to accrue property." A similar incident happened after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. The devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mutt wanted to sell a property they owned that had a mango orchard. Their property was at a place called Rautala in Sri Navdeep. Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, however, opposed the sale and filed a court case against them, being unable to use his own name to file the court case because he had been previously jailed due to false accusations made against him. He instead filed it under the name of his godbrothers, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Ashram Goswami Maharaj, and Sri Khagena Prabhu. However, when devotees from Sri Chaitanya Mutt came to testify in court, they insisted they never intended on selling that property and that they had no intentions of selling it in the future. They also presented the court with a written statement to this effect. Hearing this, the judge threw out the case and noted in the record that the land will never be sold. Because I was extremely junior to Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, I initially possessed a respectful fear of him and never asked him any questions. But as I continued my daily transcription service with him, that fear gradually faded. When I expressed my disappointment at losing the court case despite our best efforts, and after incurring considerable debt, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj said, "You are very young, you cannot understand anything." I was puzzled by his reply. "I don't understand," I told him. He then explained, "Although legally it may seem that we have lost, they have won, in reality it is we who have won and they who have lost." This only confused me more. Again, I don't understand. How could we have won when the case was thrown out? Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj said, "Apparently, I have to be explicit for you to understand. Listen, we have not joined the mud to accrue property. This court case was not about land. It was about principle. This land belonged to Srila Prabhupada, and he wanted it to be used for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. As a result of our court case, they have submitted a formal document to the court stating that they will never sell it. They are now bound by law to keep the land. Therefore, we have won and they have lost." The lion like Acharya. Although Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj appeared thin and frail, he was as fierce as a lion in his conduct and his dedication to Srila Prabhupada. When he manifested his sickness pastimes, Guru Maharaj and Sri Jagmohan Prabhu visited him. Taking me with them as their sevak, during their visit, Guru Maharaj asked Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj, "How will we continue with these court cases if we are manifesting sickness pastimes?" Although Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj appeared to be very ill, his response was so powerful that it continues to resonate in my ears even to this day. He said, "No matter what happens to me, the residents of the mud must continue these court cases, otherwise they will have no right to stay in the mud. Concerned only for Srila Prabhupada's mission, not profit or loss." In its early days, Sri Devanand Gaudiya Mutt in Navdeep consisted of only 2 rooms, one for Thakurji and one for Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj and his sevak. Although his possessions were few and his funds were meager, he was the first person to initiate an annual parikrama of Sri Navdeep Dham, separate from Sri Chaitanya Mutt. He took out loans from various individuals to facilitate the parikrama and welcomed as many pilgrims as possible. Without asking anyone for an attendance fee, he was unconcerned with profit and loss. His only concern was to continue Srila Prabhupada's mission. Such was his elevated consciousness. Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj used to say, although many people stayed with Srila Prabhupada during the Mutt's earliest days, he never ordered any of them to beg alms. The devotees were served through whatever donations donors gave of their own accord. Because of a dearth in provisions for lunch prasad, everyone get a single bowl of rice and wild greens. When we performed parikrama with Srila Prabhupada, everyone stayed under trees. Srila Prabhupada knows our current condition, so he is sending many things. Now when we perform parikrama, we stay under large tents and serve large amounts of prasad to the pilgrims. Although in reality, he did not have much and had to borrow money to host parikramas, Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj indubitably saw Srila Prabhupada's mercy everywhere and genuinely never felt any lacking. Pilgrimage by private train. Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj was the first person in Gaudiya Mutt history to organize parikramas of the holy places in India. He would book a private train and lead pilgrims on tours of North India, South India, and other places around the country. The private train had two sections, one for cooking and one for cleaning and other services. The Parikrama party would stop wherever they wanted for as long as they desired before moving on to the next place. A glimpse into the transcendental affection and relationships. The following is a letter written by Sri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj in 1988 on the occasion of the disappearance day of Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, in which he has expressed his heartfelt humility in separation from his godbrother. The English translation presented here was first published in Rays of the Harmonies, Volume 9, Winter, 2001. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Shri Gopinath Gaudiya Math, Ishodhyan, Post Office, Shri Mayapur, District Nadia, West Bengal, PIN 741313. Tidandi Bhikshu, Shri Bhakti Pramod Puri, dated 26 October 1988. This is a humble submission by this fallen Das Anudas Jiva at the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravish Param Pujyapad Tridandis Goswami Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj on the occasion of his Tirobhav Tithi Puja. Pujyapat Maharaj, today is your Aprakrit Tithi Puja, disappearance day. However, you are a Nitya Jan, an eternal associate of Param Aradhe Shri Guru Pad Padma, and you are absorbed in his eternal service. You are Aprakrit, but you have nonetheless manifested your Nitya Prakat Leela at your dearmost place, Shri Dham Navdeep Mayapur. There at Shri Chaitanya Math in Shri Dham Mayapur, you are overwhelmed in the bliss of eternal service to Param Aradhya Shri Srila Prabhupada. This place is the birthplace of Sriman Mahaprabhu and is non-different from Shri Vrindavan. Your most beloved godbrother, Shri Srila Narharida, is also engaged there in the eternal service of Srila Prabhupada as your prominent assistant. Both of you bless this fallen younger godbrother of yours at the beginning of his mirth life with your affection. And he received the opportunity to serve the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada in the guidance of your Shri Charan throughout the 3 periods of the day for many years. Those were the days when you profusely encouraged your unqualified fallen brother in seva by fully opening the shower of unlimited storehouse of your affection. At that time, I became bound by your affection and made up my mind to pass my whole life in Sridham Mayapur serving Srila Prabhupada. However, by the will of Providence, I had to live in Shri Gaudiya Math in Bagh Bazar, Kolkata for a long time. Then, after the disappearance pastime of Srila Prabhupada, I resided at Shri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, Calcutta, established by our godmother, Nitya Lila Parvish Srimad Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj. In the last part of my life, I have once again come to Shri Gopinath Gaudiya Math at Ishodhyan, Shri Dham Mayapur. I have been staying here for the last 8 months. Unfortunately, here too, I am passing my time in great distress, being devoid of the Sangha of genuine Bhajan Vigya Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas who are well versed in the art of bhajan. Therefore, afflicted with this grief, I am praying today at your Shripad Padma, lotus feet, O Adosh Darshi Vaishnav Thakur, means one who does not look at the faults of others. Please do not forget your unfortunate younger brother. Despite remaining unmanifest, please always shower the nectar of your affection upon him as you used to do before. At Katwa, you accepted the Tridanda Sannyas Vesh from Nitya Lila Pravish Param Pujyapad Tridandi Yati Shri Srimad Bhakti Rakshar Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. At that time, this fallen one was also present there. I think that by the desire of Pujyapad Sridhar Maharaj, I lit the sacrificial fire. During your manifest pastimes, I occasionally had the good fortune to have your Sangha at places like Sri Devanand Gaudiya Math in Navdeep, Chunchuda Math and Calcutta. Today I have become completely helpless here. I entered the 91st year of my life last 15 October 1988, and I have now become incapable. I cannot willfully go from one place to another to have the Sangha of the Shuddha Bhaktas, and thus I feel myself cheated of such fortune. In this state, please protect the spiritual life of this fallen younger brother of yours. Although you remain hidden from our sight, in this state, please protect the spiritual life of this fallen younger brother of yours by nourishing him with a stream of the nectar of your affection. Today, my heartfelt solicitation at your lotus feet is this: O Adoshdarshi Vaishnav Pravar, by your magnanimous qualities, please rectify all my known and unknown faults and discrepancies, and bestow upon me the adhikar to engage in the Nitya Seva of Srila Prabhupada. This is my sole submission at your lotus feet at this auspicious moment of your disappearance day. Vaishnav Das Anudas, Shri Bhakti Pramod Puri. Glorification of Pujyapad Keshav Maharaj, composed under the editorship of Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. The appearance of an extraordinary personality. Shri Bhagwan arranged for his intimate associate, Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, to appear in a devotional atmosphere in an aristocratic family. The virtues he displayed, for instance, his righteous character, his attachment to religiosity, and his fearless and vehement opposition of wrongdoing, rose the amazement of his relatives and wise acquaintances, who made him the sole topic of their discussions. They predicted he would soon prove to be an extraordinary personality. Taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada. When Sripad Vinod Bihari Brahmachari first arrived in Sridham Mayapur in 1915, he was highly fortunate to obtain the darshan of Param Aradhyatam, Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, as well as the opportunity to extensively hear Hari Katha from him. In 1990, he took shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, becoming a lifelong celibate, and began living permanently in Brajpatan, Sri Chaitanya Math, where he surrendered his life to engage in earnest spiritual inquiry and cultivate a disposition of servitude. Thus, he received plentiful teachings from his Sri Gurudev on the truths of Dharma and scriptural conclusions. Refuting Mayavad. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari paid particular attention to what Srila Prabhupada spoke on the topic of Mayavad, or the delusional doctrine of monism. It is a notion lethal to devotion and kills the soul. Sriman Mahaprabhu did not accept this philosophy in any way, but rather deemed it antagonistic to bhakti. Hence, it is entirely unsanctioned by him. Brahmachariji formally assimilated these teachings in his heart, where they became deeply rooted. Accordingly, he collected some 10 to 12 commentaries on the philosophical treatise of Vedanta by various authors, and having studied these works, gave speeches at Cuttack's Ravan Shaw College and other learned communities on the irrationality and inauthenticity of Shankar's doctrine. Later, the essential points of his speeches were published in the Gaudiya Math's daily newsletter at the time, Dainik Nadya Prakash. He expounded the concepts of Brahma Sutra primarily on the basis of Sriman Mahaprabhu's teaching concerning the worship of the holy name. He wrote, "The word Brahm factually refers to Shabd Brahm, or divine sound vibration. This Shabd Brahm is what Sriman Mahaprabhu preached as Shri Nam Brahm, divinity incarnated as the holy name. The notion that Brahm is formless, indistinguishable, featureless oblivion is not mentioned anywhere in the approximately 550 axioms of Brahma Sutra. If Brahm is devoid of qualities, then surely Brahm is not of a compassionate nature. Srila Ved Vyas did not mention the words Nirakar, formless, Nirvishesh, indistinct, or Nirguna, featureless anywhere in Vedanta Sutra." Classifying the various Buddhas. Once, Swamiji was giving a week-long lectures series on Srimad Bhagavatam in the village of Sri Rampur, near Churchoda, at the Sanskrit school of the respected attorney Shriyut Fani Bhushan Chakravarti Shastri, M.A. B.L. During that time, he discovered that his host had a huge library, which he received the opportunity to peruse. Among the many books, a volume of Buddhist origin titled Lanka Avatar Sutra drew his attention, and he borrowed it from the lawyer to study. At one place in this book, it is written, Ravan used to take a plane to the top of the tallest mountain to visit Buddha, who had come there and discuss Advaitavad, the doctrine of monism. Swamiji quotes this Lanka Avatar Sutra as a scriptural evidence on page 20 of his Mayavadir Jivani. Thus he collected historical evidence of Advaitavadis dating all the way back to Treta Yuga. Once, in 1946, Srila Swamiji was observing Urja Vrata in Kashi. He made a trip to Bodh Gaya, where he discovered that the temples were under the care of a distinguished Shankaracharya Mahanta of the Advaitavadi lineage, in accordance with traditions dating back to an ancient times. That Mahanta was essentially the proprietor of Bodh Gaya. Out of curiosity, Swamiji asked the Mahanta, how is a renounced Acharya of the Shankar lineage the head of the Buddhist mutt? Is Shankar lineage a sect of Buddhism? The Mahanta, being somewhat displeased, gave him a book called Lalit Vistar to consult. Evidence from the 21st chapter, page 178 of this book, is cited on page 19 of Mayavadare Jivani. The Shakya Buddha decided that Bodh Gaya, the birthplace of previous ancient Buddha, was appropriate place for him to attain perfection, and so he sat beneath a fig tree and performed his austerities. Swamiji has written, the ancient name of this Bodh Gaya is Kikat. Buddha Dev deity is still worshipped at this place by the Giri Sannyasi leadership of the Shankar lineage. They accept that Bodh Gaya is the birthplace of ancient original Buddha, the Vishnu Buddha. It is where the Shakyasima Buddha performed spiritual practice to attain liberation. This clearly proves that the ancient Avatar Buddha and the more recent Gautam Buddha are not the same. In the Amarkosh dictionary, Lord Buddha's other name is given as Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra is listed among the Bodhisattvas, while Gautam is one of the mortal Buddhas. He became renowned by the name Buddha after attaining enlightenment. Thus we know there are three classifications of Buddhas: the mortal Buddhas, the Bodhisattva Buddhas, and the original Buddha. His disdain for Mayavad. Swamiji especially cautioned practitioners pursuing the path of devotion to entirely reject the animosity to bhakti, that is Mayavad, and to avoid the company of Mayavadis, which is lethal to devotion. To this end, the quotes various statements by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, headed by Mayavadi Bhashye Shunile Hai Sarva Nash. If you listen to the doctrine of Mayavadis, you will meet with utter ruin. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 6.169. He also cites Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Vishay Vimood are Mayavadi Jan, Bhakti Shunye Duhe Pran Dhare Akaran. The materialistic engrossed in pleasures and the impersonalist Mayavadis are both bereft of bhakti and therefore lead meaningless lives. Se duye madhe vishay tabhi bhalo, Mayavadi sanga nahi magi kono kala. Of the two, the materialistic is still better. I never want the company of a Mayavadi. Mayavad dosh jare hriday pasharila, kutarke hriday tar, vajra samubhela. Once the blight of Mayavad enters a person's heart, various corrupting contentions render it as harsh as a thunderbolt. Bhaktira Swarup are Vishay Ashraya, Mayavadi Anitya Bolia Sabekaya. The Mayavadi deems the nature of devotion, along with its object and subject, to be temporary. Dhiktar Krishna Seva Shravana Kirtan, Krishna Ange Vajrahan, Tahar Stavan. Fie on their service of Krishna, their so-called hearing and chanting. Their praise of Krishna amounts to hurling bolts of lightning at him. मायावाद सम भक्ति प्रतिकूल नाई, अतएव मायावादी संगे नहीं चाय. There is nothing more unfavorable to devotion than Mayavad. Therefore, I do not want the company of Mayavadis. In this way, Swamiji's efforts to refute the doctrine of Mayavad and thereby elicit the hearty pleasure of Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion, is a primary facet of his Bhagavad Jivan, his transcendental life dedicated to the Lord. A miraculous occurrence. For several unavoidable reasons, Brahmachariji left Sri Chaitanya Mutt in great sadness in June of 1940. In 1941, he accepted sannyas and rented a house on 33-2 Bospada Lane in the Bagbazar neighborhood, where he founded Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti on the day of Akshaya Tritiya. During this period, an extraordinary incident occurred. It must have been 1941 or 42 on the day of Ekadashi, when Swamiji was sitting in his room at 33-2 Bospada Lane, the location of his Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, and his godbrother Shripad Narayan Das Mukhopadhyay, Seva Surit Prabhu, made the trip from his home at 14 Faradas Lane to visit him. He arrived in the morning, and the two passed a significant amount of time talking. Seeing his guests preparing to return home, Maharaj was keen to offer him something to eat, but at the time he did not have single paisa at hand. He could not even offer batasa, small hollow sugar puffs with water. Was he to simply bid his godbrother goodbye like this? Maharaj, a son of nobility, began to weep at heart. At that very moment, a sparrow sent by the Lord, presumably perched itself on the wall of the house and dropped a small packet down the ventilator shaft. The packet fell into the room and landed on the floor with a sound. When Shri Keshav Maharaj opened it, he saw there was 6 annas inside, about 35 paisa. Surely the gods have sent this, he thought. Summoning a brahmachari sevak, he asked him to purchase some sandesh, sweet curd, with the money. Thus he was able to lovingly offer his godbrother Seva Surit Prabhu's suitable prasad. After that, there was not 1 paisa left in his treasury by which he might have had something for himself to eat. But just then, there was a knock at the main gate. A courier had arrived. It was incredible. Blessed is the Lord who is so affectionate to his devotees, and blessed is his transcendental causeless mercy which make the impossible possible. His affection for his devotees is unprecedented. The supremely worshipful Randi Swami Srimad Bhakti Sarvasagiri Maharaj, a godbrother of Maharajji, who has since attained the eternal abode, had sent a money order in his name for 100 rupees. Everyone who witnessed the incident was stunned and began to praise Shri Shri Guru Gauranga again and again. Although he was in the grips of extreme poverty, Swamiji savored this mercy of Shri Bhagwan and felt encouraged to always be dauntless in his readiness to render service, winning the respect of all. From the very beginning, when Shri Vinod Bihari first came to the lotus feet of his most worshipful Shri Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada entrusted him with the weighty responsibilities of maintaining the merged properties in Sridham Mayapur and further expanding the glories of serving the most transcendental Dham. The guardian of Akar Math Raj, Shri Chaitanya Mutt in Sridham Mayapur, Shripad Narhari Brahmachari Seva Vigraha, was his inseparable comrade and counterpart. Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari accomplished many services for the sake of Sri Dham with his companion's consultation, thereby bringing great joy to Param Aradhe Srila Prabhupada. In those days in Sridham Mayapur, the residents of Sriman Mahaprabhu's Dham respectively addressed Shri Vinod Bihari Brahmachari as Manager Babu. Hindus and Muslims alike all regarded him as a truly beneficent friend and well-wisher. At a word from him, everyone would heed his reconciliation, which were geared toward keeping rocks in check and nurturing the gentle folk. He never indulged in any manner of wrongdoing. Because of his sound judgment and management, The poor rarely had to waste money on court visits and fees. Even the local Muslims lent their wholehearted assistance to the mutt. All of the local high-ranking officials, from the district magistrate of Nadia to the officers, attorneys, landowners, and oligarchs, as well as the teachers, professors, and the administrations of the schools and colleges, regarded Vinod Babu with ubiquitous respect as an esteemed citizen and munificent gentleman whose life was dedicated to the Dharma. Indeed, they found themselves won over by his virtues. Every year, he evoked profuse joy in Srila Prabhupada by his otherworldly service during Sridham Navadip Parikrama, the festival of Sri Gaur's appearance at Sri Yogpit. The auspicious convening of Srila Navadip Dharma Pracharni Sabha, as well as when an exhibition on spiritual life was unveiled in 1929. Aside from this, as a brahmachari, he further evoked the happiness of his Sri Gurupad Padma by his tireless toil in establishing the printing press in the Sridham, in overseeing the printing of the daily spiritual newspaper Dainik Nadia Prakash, and countless scriptural texts, in constructing Sridham's roads and riverbanks, in supervising the land leases, and in other various tasks of service. All of the resident sevaks of the mutt were won over by his considerate, caring interactions. In the endearing saturation of his and Shripad Narhari Das' affectionate care, even the young pledges who had taken refuge in the mutt were able to forego the loving arms of their mothers and fathers, all the while maintaining a healthy fear of his affectionate chastisement. Disciples of the most worshipful Srila Prabhupada were eager to approach these two godbrothers, literally dancing in delight at the prospect. In those days, Sridham Mayapur was the life of devotees' lives, and Vinodda and Narharida were everyone's bosom friends, the dearest of their lives. Even Param Aradhyatam, Srila Prabhupada was always eager to come to Sridham Mayapur from the Sri Gaudiya Mutt in Kolkata. Upon reaching there, his heart would feel soothed and at peace. But alas, Tehi no divasa gataha, those days have gone. Sridham Mayapur was the very life of Shripad Keshav Maharaj. Upon being deprived of living in Sridham Mayapur, like a fish out of water, Swamiji felt as if life itself was an affliction. After the disappearance of our most worshipful Srila Prabhupada, Shri Keshav Maharaj consulted with his inseparable confidant Shripad Narharida and moved to Tegripada, Koldweep in Sridham Navadip, where he established the principal seat of his Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. He named the mutt Shri Devanand Gaudiya Mutt, and on 6 begas, 4 and 1/3 acres, constructed a huge towering temple, a large Natya Mandir, event hall, ample accommodations for the sevakas, and many other facilities. To honor the Puranic significance of Koladweep, the fifth of Navadip's 9 islands, Swamiji installed the deity of Shri Bhagwan Vara Avatar on a separate throne next to that of Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Giridhari Ju in a grand ceremony with a qualified Acharya priest present to conduct the necessary rituals. Now, as of 6 October 1968, Swamiji's transcendental form has been interred in Samadhi to the west of the massive Natya Mandir Assembly Hall in front of that temple. The devotees hope to soon build a large Samadhi shrine there. Observing Rath Yatra. Every year for some 25 years, Pujyapad Maharaj held the Rath Yatra festival of Shri Shri Jagannath Dev from Churchada Shri Udaran Gaudiya Mutt. Last year, in a grand event, Shri Shri Jagannath Dev's Rath Yatra was held at Shri Devanand Gaudiya Mutt in Shri Koldweep also. Propagating Shuddha Bhakti. By establishing preaching centers under Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti in various places throughout India, Pujyapad Keshav Maharaj propagated the message and verdicts of Shuddha Bhakti, or pure devotion, and planted its seed in the hearts of many fortunate souls. By the impact of hearing his compelling sermons, many men and women attained the fortune of pursuing the path of pure devotion, as revealed by our most worshipful Prabhupada. Bathing and vitalizing them in the sacred current of Sri Sri Bhakti Vinod's teachings, Swamiji made their mortal lives successful and blessed beyond belief. The steadfastness of his conviction. Once Srila Keshav Maharaj understood something to be true. His conviction in it was such that even fear itself was afraid to dissuade him. Nourishing his disciples with affection, Sri Keshav Maharaj expressed a disposition of being harder than a thunderbolt, yet softer than a flower. Vajrat api kathorani mriduni kusumadapi. His affection for his disciple was exemplary. If ever his disciple faced a serious illness or injury, his soft, flower-like heart would melt entirely. He would be ready to trade all he had to bring them back to health. Although he had to combat extreme poverty in the beginning, by the Lord's will, he eventually established temples in various places, most notably the large Mat Mandir in Sridham Navadip, with the help of few wealthy devotees. A few of his accomplishments. During his pastime as an acharya, he held huge parikramas in Shri Gaur Mandal, Shri Braj Mandal, and Shri Kshetra Mandal. Besides these engagements, he organized pilgrimage to almost all of the renowned holy places in Aryavrata, North India and South India. He also held a large pilgrimage of Shri Shiv Dham, Shri Baidyanath Dham, and stayed there for 1 month, observing Niyam Seva, Kartik, and executing the schedule of appropriate vows and daily kirtans. His enthusiasm in the field of education was exemplary. In the Mutt in Sridham Navadip, he established a day school for Sanskrit, a residence for students, a printing press for books and magazines, a bookstore and a warehouse. He personally oversaw these services, thus encouraging everyone in the service of the Sri Mat Mandir. Inexpressible separation. Today, having lost such an exemplary acharya, who was eager to serve and was endowed with all good qualities, the pain we feel in our hearts cannot be expressed in words. Separation from a God brother so completely dedicated to the service of Shri Guru Gauranga and Shri Gauradham fills our hearts with extreme agony. May Shripad Keshav Maharaj be pleased with us. That is our pitiful prayer. Excerpts from an article published in Shri Chaitanya Vani, Year 8, Volume 10.